I am sad to report that the first direct volcanic fatality of 2025 has occurred. However, there are important lessons that we can learn from this death, which is why I am reporting it. This story takes us to the Christian-majority island of Flores in Indonesia, specifically its Luitobi volcano. This volcano's northern Laki-Laki cone has been continuously Luitobi volcano erupting since December 23 of 2023. While this activity has been consistently explosive, a major escalation occurred in November of 2024, creating periods where the eruption became 2 to 3 orders of magnitude more explosive. This resulted in 3 subplinian eruptions that not only threw up to car-sized bombs of lava as much as 11 kilometers away, which damaged or destroyed thousands of structures and caused fatalities, but also incinerated large swaths of the surrounding landscape via pyroclastic flows. As a quick reference, pyroclastic flows are a fast-moving current of hot gas and volcanic matter that flows along the ground away from a volcanic vent at speeds often exceeding 100, sometimes 200 kilometers per hour. Pyroclastic flows often occur alongside pyroclastic surges, which are more gas-rich, lighter and farther-traveling counterparts. With this in mind, since those 3 eruptions breached the volcanic cone to the north and northwest, pyroclastic flows and surges traveled furthest in those directions. In other words, while people in those sectors became all too familiar with this volcano's hazards, other sectors were far less affected. Then, 4 months later, with essentially only 12 hours warning beforehand, a 4th major eruption occurred late during the night of March 20 of 2025. This marked the most powerful eruption in recorded history of this volcano, creating a blast and shockwave easily heard and felt more than 180 kilometers or 112 miles away. During the initial blast, a large portion of the eruption column collapsed back to the ground, generating its largest and longest series of pyroclastic flows yet. Moving at a speed likely upwards of 160 km per hour, it only took 1 minute and 59 seconds for a pyroclastic surge to reach a hut belonging to a local resident. While this spot 5.28 km or 3.28 miles from the erupting vent did not experience surge temperature hot enough to burn wood, it was still sufficient to kill all vegetation while leaving structures mostly intact, probably reaching around 200 degrees Celsius or 392 degrees Fahrenheit. There was sadly a man in this structure, lahar explosion, and I'll spare you the most gruesome details, but he suffered extensive 3rd-degree burns. Then, as this injured man attempted to leave the area, a portion of a recently in place lahar deposit exploded in a manner somewhat similar to a phreatic eruption. In other words, a steam explosion caused by building heat in a hot lahar occurred, showering a sizable area in hot debris which can kill or cause injury, the latter of which happened to this individual. These explosions can occur within hours to days after a large pyroclastic flow or lahar is in place. You might be thinking, but wait, wasn't this person in this expanded exclusion zone and should have thus evacuated? Yes, but it wasn't his fault. We know this because the victim, before they passed away 7 days later, spoke with authorities in the hospital. This person stated that he didn't know there was an expanded exclusion zone and was never specifically told to evacuate. And he was just outside the 5-kilometer exclusion zone, which had been in effect up to only 12 hours prior. You see, while this is taken for granted in many locations, not everyone on Flores has a cell phone, important lessons, let alone internet access, especially since the median yearly income on the island is below $2,000 US. This person essentially said that they would have evacuated if they had knew. So, what can we learn from this? That in areas of the world with lower rates of internet access that we cannot rely solely on alerts sent by phone or TV. Sometimes a truly low-cost solution is needed. Tornado siren idea, something that is impossible to miss, such as a tornado siren which can be repurposed as a volcanic eruption siren. I have outlined the hypothetical cost emplacement of such a system would be, and suggest that if it is put in place that people are told to immediately evacuate to specific designated areas depending on the sector of the volcano they live on if they can hear the siren at any time. Similar systems already exist to warn of lahars at specific other world volcanoes. I also want to note that the March 20th eruption caused a 2nd fatality and additional injury, due to a lahar deposit crossing onto a road that those were evacuating traveled onto. While the deposit it left behind was only 2 inches or 5 centimeters thick, it made the road slippery, causing a deadly motorcycle crash. English.